Good day, guys. This is strategic thinking. I would like to ask if you want to retire from your job as soon as possible? Sounds a great idea, right? I'm sure most people, unless if they really want their job like, I don't know, maybe a food taster, or become game streamer? I'm not sure if that belongs to a job category. If you don't, then you may want to try the FIRE movement, which stands for Financial Independence Retire Early. So this is basically just to encourage people to save and invest so they can retire younger, mostly before the traditional age, which is 50 to 70. So how to do the FIRE? I hate my cringe jokes actually. The first, the most easiest and the most basic one, you have to spend less. The less you spend, the less money you need to live. This lowers the total amount you must save to reach financial independence. It's not just about being cheap, it's about being strategic and value-driven with your money. Rent a smaller apartment or sharing your space with roommates can significantly cut down on rent and utility expenses. If you own a home, renting out a room can be a great way to earn extra income. Choosing a used car over a brand new one is another smart move. It serves the same purpose at a much lower cost. Even better, consider using public transportation or biking to save from fuel, maintenance, and insurance. Preparing meals at home is also a budget-friendly choice, as dining out often costs several times more than cooking for yourself. Take time to review your subscriptions and cancel anything you don't need, especially if it's not related to your work. And finally, my favorite, buy secondhand whenever possible. You can find quality items at thrift stores, online marketplaces, or garage sales for just a fraction of the original price. Spending less may seem simple, but they can be much harder for some people, especially those who live far from work in suburban areas with limited public transportation. Others might not have the time to cook at home because of their busy schedules. My advice is to not force yourself to do all those stuff, but rather assessing what's realistically manageable for you without negatively impacting your work or overall well-being. Doing FIRE means aiming to save a very large portion of your income, far more than the traditional financial advice of saving 10 to 20%. You have to save 50% to 70% of what you earn so you can reach financial independence in just 10 to 20 years or even faster. The more you save, the more you can invest, the faster you can achieve financial freedom. So what financial freedom specifically mean? In order for you to tell you achieved financial freedom, you must have hit of what they called the crossover point. A term popularized by Vicky Robin and Joe Dominguez in their book, Your Money or Your Life. It is where your annual investment returns equals your annual living expenses. In order to get the crossover point, you had to get the required investment by dividing the annual expenses by the annual return rate of your investment. If your yearly expenses are $40,000, you can calculate the amount needed for financial freedom by dividing that by your investment return rate. For instance, with a 5% return, you need to invest $800,000 to become financially independent. It can also be your current annual salary if your goal is to match it with your investment income. Here's an illustration showing how many years it takes to reach your goal with a 5% return on investment, regardless of your annual income. It clearly demonstrates how much faster you can achieve financial independence by investing more than 50% of your income, and how it takes forever when you only invest 20% below of it. Aside from cutting expenses, increasing your income through a second job, side gigs, or other income streams can help, but it's often easier said than done. First, finding additional work isn't always easy. Second, some opportunities, like freelancing, may require upfront investment in tools or subscriptions. Third, juggling multiple jobs can be exhausting, especially if the workload is as demanding as your main job. While this channel focuses on financial matters, I always emphasize that health comes first. In fact, health literacy is financial literacy, because I don't want any one of you guys facing financial ruin due to medical issues, which is a leading cause of bankruptcy, especially in the US. That's why, it is not advisable to get a job as physically demanding as your main job. As long as possible, please, never get 2 full-time jobs. Sleep at least 6 to 10 hours per day. Investments generally fall into 3 categories: low risk with low returns, moderate risk with moderate returns, and high risk with high returns. The choice depends on your personal risk tolerance, but it's essential to diversify your portfolio. In the FIRE strategy, it's often recommended to take on higher risk investments early on to build up capital much faster, and any losses can still be offset by your regular income. Then you can take on low risk investment the closer you are to retire, since you will become dependent on your investment sooner. Therefore, you don't want your investments to just go away. Always proceed with caution, educate yourself thoroughly, and fully understand any investment before committing. Avoid hype-driven assets like meme stocks or poorly researched cryptocurrencies, and only invest money you can afford to lose. Using debt can potentially speed up your FIRE journey, but it also significantly increases your risk. Losing money is devastating. Imagine losing money while in debt. That said, reliable trading tools may help improve your chances of success. Look for tools that are trustworthy, have over 90% market prediction accuracy, are available 24/7, come with strong user reviews, and are beginner-friendly. If a tool is easy for newcomers to understand, it's likely intuitive for most users. And did you know, guys, I've spent a lot of time searching for the best trading tools out there. And over time, I believe I've finally found the one that checks all the boxes based on my criteria for what makes a great trading tool. But before I reveal it to you, please subscribe, leave a like, and hit the notification bell for more videos to come. So based from what I found, the best trading tools is Now you know the basic of doing FIRE. It's just very basic knowledge, right? Spend less, save, invest. I'm sure you heard that often from other financial YouTubers, or even from your parents, family members, or friends. It's just that FIRE movement took it way much extreme. But do you know there are actually different strategies to FIRE? And I'm going to tell which one I think possibly works for majority. I think, guys, it's not an absolute fact, just my opinion. Let's proceed. Lean FIRE is about achieving financial independence and retiring early by living on a small budget, typically between $25,000 and $40,000 per year, or even less. It's considered the fastest way to retire. It encourages minimalism and intentional living, which may also be good for the environment, honestly. But this may also put you at risk in case of emergencies, especially health, and may not be suitable for someone supporting a family. It's recommended to allocate 50% to 70% of your income towards savings and investments. Choosing moderate risk investments is often ideal, as it helps grow your wealth while minimizing the chances of significant losses that could force you to start over. People who may want to go lean FIRE route are anyone who values freedom over luxury, single or child-free couple, or anyone who just really hated their job too much. The best way is geo-arbitrage, relocating to a region or country with a much lower cost of living, such as moving from the US to Southeast Asia. This boosts your purchasing power and stretches your savings much further. Another option is off-grid living, which can drastically reduce or even eliminate utility expenses. However, this path requires a major lifestyle shift and a willingness to invest in practical skills and tools, such as farming, trades, 5 or more acres of land, solar panels, human-powered devices, and energy storage systems. Fat FIRE is the opposite of lean FIRE. It is about reaching FIRE with a larger investment portfolio that supports luxurious or comfortable spending with a budget of $100,000 or more per year. This strategy is more resilient economically, suitable for supporting big family. However, it might be slow and requires higher income or even impossible for middle to lower income earners to achieve. While the savings rate remains similar to lean FIRE, this approach is backed by a significantly higher income. To accelerate progress, high-risk investments and starting a business are often preferred, even during the mid-stages of the journey, allowing for greater earning potential and faster wealth accumulation. Although any high-income earners may easily do Fat FIRE, this strategy is strongly recommended for anyone wanted to do FIRE while being a breadwinner of a huge family. Achieving Fat FIRE often involves a degree of luck or privilege. This could mean having a high-paying career, receiving financial support from wealthy family members, experiencing major success in high-risk investments, or building highly profitable businesses. These factors can significantly accelerate wealth accumulation, allowing individuals to transition into safer investments that yield returns of $100,000 or more annually. The last one might be the best, because it is the most inclusive and may possibly work for almost anyone. However, among all the FIRE strategy, this one suffers an existential crisis. Because it doesn't sound like a retirement at all, in fact, it is even named after a job. Barista FIRE is a hybrid strategy, which means to save enough money that would cover half or most of your expenses from investments but still working in low-stress or passion job to cover the rest. The estimated budget will depend on the preferred lifestyle, but investment income must be 50% or more but not totally cover all the annual expenses. This strategy is much faster even for mid to low income earners with families, able to take higher investments even in late stages but may not seem like a retirement, and finding a passion or part-time job can be a struggle too. Any investment income amount can work for Barista FIRE, as long as it covers at least half of your annual expenses, but the more you generate, the faster you reach. You can either follow a high to middle to low risk strategy or go from high to middle risk. Barista FIRE is considered one of the most accessible FIRE strategies, as individuals at nearly any income level can pursue it, though it largely depends on their lifestyle choices, spending habits and savings and investment rate. While any part-time job can support Barista FIRE, the most effective approach is to invest in high-demand skills suited for remote work. This allows you to geo-arbitrage, living in a low-cost area while earning an income based from high-cost area, or with strong currency country. Commission-based work, such as becoming an agent or affiliate marketer, can also be a great opportunity with growth potential. However, since it's not a stable income source, it's crucial to have at least 1 year's worth of savings to cover your living expenses while you build your earnings. As mentioned earlier, Barista FIRE may be the most practical of all FIRE strategies. First, it's accessible even to those with low incomes, which means it's even more manageable for people earning average to high incomes. Just look at this comparison. Investing more than 50% of your income can help you reach it in under 20 years. Even with a lower savings rate, the timeline is still significantly shorter compared to full FIRE, which can take 40 to 67 years. Another benefits may include psychological and social, as full early retirement can feel isolating, especially if friends and family are still working. A part-time job provides routine, social interaction, and a sense of purpose, all while maintaining flexibility. Ultimately, the choice is yours. You don't have to follow the FIRE movement or take my advice at all. But if there's one thing I strongly recommend, it's to get out of debt as soon as you can and avoid taking on more, especially since debt can become a heavy burden later in life, even into retirement. And above all, never forget to invest in your health, because health is the real wealth. Thanks for watching.